This is Molly. Molly, come here. Come and say hello. Come here. Look at Mummy. Come and say hello. Are you coming? Can we get kisses? Yeah. We found her on Help to Rehome Scotland on Facebook, which is basically, I think it's a charity. They help animals find homes. So Molly had lost her owner and nobody would take her. She had thousands of shares, and because she was an elderly cat, 15, her owner had passed away. And then I found out, after I signed up to take her, I found out that she'd been left alone in the house for 2 weeks. There was 2 other cats there. I think Molly had been the one that was there from day one with this owner. Molly's like a wee old cat lady, and she must have been grieving. And because of her age, the other 2 cats that were there in the house were younger, and they got home straight away. But Molly was obviously 15, and it said that she was deaf on the site. So I applied to take her in, and then she came to live with us on the 2nd of January. When she arrived, I was a little bit worried because her photo on the Help to Rehome Scotland actually showed, it looked like she might even be a little bit blind as well. But when I first looked at her, it was so sad. Like when I went to collect her in Dundee, at Dundee Tesco car park, she's deaf, so when we opened the back boot, she wasn't turning around. When we were like, Molly, like turn around, like she just had her back to us. It was so cute. And then the minute she turned around and I saw her beautiful emerald green eyes, I fell in love straight away. She's just gorgeous. But sadly we took her home and her fur was completely matted. Her fur was so matted that I tried to get all these dematting brushes and conditioners and shampoos, and eventually we took her to the vet and they had to shave big clumps of her hair because she was so deeply matted. It takes a long time to sit down and things because she's got arthritis, because she's just a little old lady. I think she's like 88 in human terms. So she's got arthritis, so now I've started taking her for 4 weekly or monthly Silencia injections, which is a monoclonal antibody. So she now sleeps longer now that she's getting her monthly Silencia injections, and she's just doing so well. Yeah. And then she's also got chronic kidney disease, we found out. So it's only stage 1, so she has to get a special kidney diet because she was really unwell. I was giving her all the whiskas and little mousses and treats of the day, and it was making her sick. She started to have diarrhea and sickness and things. Now obviously she's 15, probably nearly 16 now. I don't know her exact birthday. She's too old to get pet insurance. And thank God I went for the injections, which are dearer, like over £100 for this Silencia injection every 4 weeks. I'm so glad I went for that one, because if I'd taken the tablet form of help, which was cheaper, I think it was about 40 quid, that could have affected her kidneys. And so I just said, no, give her whatever doesn't harm her kidneys, without even knowing that she had kidney disease. And I'm so glad I went straight away for the Silencia. So I don't have to worry about giving her wee tablets or anything. She had cat flu and everything when she first started. She was sneezing all over the place. She had to get antibiotics because she had a wee infection. And then her fur is so soft now, and she's so affectionate and so loving. So I'm just really glad I was able to help her. My main point is, so I'm on all these cat grief support groups on Facebook and things, which is so bad for your heart. It's heartbreaking to watch all the people lose their beautiful fur babies. But what happened to me was I looked after my daughter's cat, another cat called Habiba, and I was kind of indifferent to her. My daughter was moving house and things, and she went to, this little cat had been, she went to her boyfriend's mum's house to start with, and then she went to my daughter's friend's house to start with, and I just felt sorry for this wee cat that was getting moved around, even though it was a big hassle for me. I was like, oh, I've not got time for a cat, I've got work to do, you know. But then when I heard she was like going to stay longer at this other friend's house, I said to my daughter, just bring her to our house and we'll watch her for a couple of weeks. I think it was supposed to be like a month maximum. So that's what happened. She came to our house, completely fell in love with her. This little cat, I was like, oh my God, like she was so affectionate and loving and hyper and active and indoors and outdoors and catching bugs and playing with spiders. She was all over the place and just so affectionate and loving and silky soft, and I fell completely in love with her, and then eventually ended up keeping her. She loved being outdoors as well. I made her an outdoor cat, which, you know, obviously I'm going to now go into the story about that she passed away from, she got run over, not from where we first lived. We lived in a little cottage, and we had like a big massive back garden. It's a quiet street, there's cats out all the time, all over the street there are cats out all the time. They're never an accident. But then we moved to a new home, a busier area, and I straight away was scared about how busy, there's a big main traffic road just like down the street of it. Now she never really went that way, but I was still a bit worried about traffic. I was constantly worried. I didn't really want to let her outside. Obviously I kept her in for the first month, and every time I did let her outside I was panicking because of the big busy road. I even called the council and tried to get the speed hump outside more noticeable, because people don't see it and everything, and I tried to explain that people are coming off a roundabout and they're just speeding up the road and everything. Please can they fix that, not just for animals, but there's a lot of cats in this neighbourhood too, but also for children. There's children like playing on skateboards and their bikes and things, and the traffic just comes zooming off that roundabout. And Habiba was so adventurous. She was everywhere. She was catching voles and bringing them home. Honestly, she caught like 3 or 4 voles the first like couple of months that we were in here, and we had to, like, one of them sadly passed away, but most of them we were able to catch and set free again. Yeah, she caught a bird and everything. Like, she was just such an adventurous cat and absolutely loved being outside. And I wanted her to have that freedom. Cats are not ornaments, they are animals. They're supposed to be outside. And if we are just more careful and more aware that there's animals around as well as children on the street, maybe what happened to her wouldn't have happened. It happened at night. She went out the door for the back door. I was making the dinner or whatever, it was dark. She opened the back door, out she went, and then that was it. She came running back in, like, I don't know, 7 minutes later, and ran up the stairs and hid under the bed. And I knew something was wrong because her tail was all bushy, which it goes when she's scared. And she went upstairs and hid under the bed, and I could see she was struggling to breathe properly. I don't actually know what happened to her. I think somehow she managed to get clipped by a car. And then when I was trying to coax her out the bed, I didn't know what had happened. I thought she'd maybe been in a cat fight or something. She came hobbling down the stairs, and I saw something was wrong with her back legs. And then she hid in the corner of the living room over this side. And then me and my daughter just dropped everything and took her to the emergency vets. It was like Friday about 9:30 at night. And they did like a scan on her and said that it looks like she's been run over, because her organs looked like they sort of been pushed up the way, and that's why she was struggling to breathe, and they were going to operate. And then they gave her an injection of something to calm her down, and then a second injection of ketamine because they were going to operate. It was like £2,500 to pay this fee. And I was like, oh my god, I just got this new house. I'd spent all my savings on like new furniture and things and couches and integrated dishwashers and fridge freezers. All my money was gone. I think I had just a few hundred left, and they're now wanting £2,500 for this. And I stupidly hadn't insured her because I wasn't really thinking. We'd only had her a year and a half. It's just like one of those jobs that you'll eventually get around to. And when I was younger, I grew up with cats. Like, my mum had lots of cats and none of them were insured, and they were totally fine. So it was just like, and then when I did look at insurance, I was getting all these, like, in the Facebook group saying don't bother when you try and claim the insurance, they don't give you the money anyway. So I was just kind of putting it off. Anyway, it came back to bite me in the ass because they're now going to charge me like £2,500 for this surgery. When they gave her that second injection of ketamine, I think they overdosed her because she was actually a really small cat. So that's when she started to deteriorate, and then they wouldn't operate. And so I had to make a decision. You know, they're not really telling you the answers. You're distraught. You don't know what to do, and they're not really. And I don't want her to be in pain if she's suffering. And I'm like, well, is she in pain? Is she suffering? Or like, she just kind of looked out of it. She was like getting oxygen. They were breathing for her. I couldn't tell if she was in pain or not. There was no crying. All I could see was them pumping air into her. But is she, do I make this decision, or do I just let her go naturally? It's like really sad thinking about it even now. I'm talking about it because I loved her so much, and they don't give you any answers, and they don't probably know. And I just thought, I'm just going to have to, if they're not going to operate and she's going to die slowly, I'm just going to give her the injection now. I fell completely in love with her. She opened my heart to all animals and made me love all animals. And now I really want to help and build some sort of foundation. I'm thinking I'm going to set up a GoFundMe page to start with for people who can't afford vet bills, because when you're in that situation at the time and they're charging you thousands of pounds, it was even just to get seen, because it was like 9 o'clock on the Friday, 9:30 on the Friday instead of 4:30 on the Friday, they were charging me £315 just to get seen. How ridiculous is that? Hundreds of pounds. And a lot of people don't have savings. 80% of people don't even have saved at £1,000 just because of the cost of living. It's ridiculous. So that fear and the guilt I felt that I was thinking about money while my cat was in a life or death situation, I hated myself for that. Like, thinking about money while my cat's in this situation, worried about money when my cat was on the, obviously I'm devastated and crying too, but my head is full of, who am I going to borrow this off of? How much will I pay it back at a month? I want to set up some sort of GoFundMe page, and then eventually an animal foundation of some sort to help animals somehow. I do donate monthly to the Humane Society. They've changed their name, the Humane World Society, for animals that are being used like cats and dogs in meat factories and things. Oh, it just breaks my heart. I shouldn't watch these things because it actually breaks my heart. But at the same time, we have to open our eyes and do something about it. Otherwise, it's going to keep happening. So I do donate monthly to that. But I wanted myself to do something on my website or some sort of page, foundation, GoFundMe page to help people with emergency vet bills to start with. And then we'll see where it goes from there. But a month ago, Mikayla, who did that Fox Foundation, who committed suicide due to internet trolls and bullies, she was helping and saving tons of foxes from the fur trade. Not just foxes, other animals too. I didn't even know about her, hadn't even heard about her until she committed suicide, and I saw all the posts about that. And right away I knew we've lost an angel on this earth. We've lost a blessing to the world. And those animals, those foxes and all the other animals that she helped, her daughter Freya, her husband, everybody's lost out because we lost this Mikayla. So I feel like I need to do my part to make it up for the fact that we've lost somebody who was helping tons of animals from the fur trade. I want to do something to help. And it's all because of Habiba, this first cat that as an adult came into my life unexpectedly, and I fell deeply, madly, completely, unconditionally in love with her. Loved her so much. So when she died, I went into like a depression, and I'm not usually a depressed person. I never really get really down. I never really let my candle burn out. I'm always really strong and resilient. Losing her was the closest I've ever gotten to depression, actually being depressed. And it felt like ridiculous, like I couldn't really be honest about it because it was a cat. And people don't understand about, unless you've had an animal and loved an animal that is the way I did. I didn't love them that way when I was younger, but unless you've actually fallen in love with an animal and it's been your family and you see them every day and they're so unconditionally loving. It's not like your mum or your dad or your sister that you're falling out with every 5 seconds. It's like proper unconditional love, just pure love and comfort that they give you. Unless you've had that, you don't really know what that feels like to lose it. And then again, I'm going to get upset talking about it, like even just her bowls. They just sat at her little food bowls in her water bowl. I just know there's other people out there who'd have the same. Their food bowls are just lying there. I think for over a month I left them. I couldn't bear to take her little food bowls away. And her cat litter, I couldn't bear to just put that away as if she didn't exist anymore. It was clean. There was no poo in there. And I remember even saying to my daughter, oh, I wish there had been poo in there, like something left of her. I know it sounds totally ridiculous, but it was the truth. If her little poos had been in there, it would have felt like, oh, there's still a wee bit of her here. Sounds totally daft, but this is just what you do when you grieve. So I couldn't bear to move her bowls and plates, and I know for certain I'm not the only one. There'll be many people who've lost animals out there who couldn't put the bowls away. I just felt like the joy had been sucked out of my life. And I remember I went on like some sort of, you should never go on these sites, like I went on some sort of Facebook group, I think it was like, Fife Jammers or something like that. And I was talking about, something had happened, a cat had been run over, and I made a comment, something saying like, I can't remember word for word, so don't quote me, it was something like, people don't seem to care about cats, they need to be more careful on the roads. And then just at that same point, I saw that a dog had been run over and people were totally shocked. No one seemed to care about the cat that had been run over. But on this other site, a dog had been run over and and I screenshot that photo and said, look how people were caring more about dogs and cats. They're all family. Then I had like 2 trolls, attacking me. One woman was attacking me saying I should never be letting my cat outside and all this because people want to keep cats as ornaments. They're scared and so they lock them in house like jail. even though animals are supposed to be outside. It's us humans that cause them danger. Driving too fast, not paying attention. I'm 44 years old at this point in time, and I've been driving since I was 21. So for 23 years, I'm in my car nearly every single day. I drive between campuses, Dunfermline, Kirkcaldy, Dundee, everywhere. I go to Livingston. I have somehow in 23 years being a regular driver managed never to run over a cat in my life. But when I put a post up about people being more careful on the road and watching out for animals and things, I got completely attacked. I got, you shouldn't be letting your cat out. No, I disagree with that. I don't care what you say. Cats are not ornaments. They're outdoor animals, and she loved being outside. So I had this troll on, and I remember her saying, something about putting her on a lead, and I said something like, I did actually try that. It was like the body lead, you could put them outside, because I was scared because she was so adventurous. So initially when we first started letting her out, it was only for like 10 minutes at a time, then back in, and then I tried the lead, but she hated the lead because she wanted to jump on the walls and things. So I made a comment about saying I did try a lead, and then like, oh, how cruel are you trying a lead and everything. See, they don't even know you, these strangers. And then this guy coming on, she's trying to make out like people care more about dogs and cats and everything, which they do. Like there's laws against running over and leaving a dog, but not against cats. People just run over cats. But these were two people in particular, a man and a woman, who were both continuously attacking me to the point I blocked them and left that group. But there were other people too, just saying, it was so obvious from the chat that loads of people had run over cats, because there was other people in this chat talking about, they just jump out of nowhere, it's hard to see them and everything like this. I mean, even at that, you're obviously going too fast that they've jumped out of nowhere and it was hard to see them, because you can still put the brake on. And when people lose their pet, you don't need to hear, you shouldn't have let them outside. Do you think that's helpful? That's not helpful. And just because you jail your animals so that you feel comfortable and safe doesn't mean that you're giving them a limited life, a limited, long, safe life. But Habiba had a full, adventurous, short life. Which one is better in the grand scheme of things? If she came back today, she would still be an outdoor cat, because I know it's what she wanted. She loved being outdoors, and I know she did, and she expanded and grew more into her personality and her character by being outdoors, so it still wouldn't change even with losing her. There was a point to this. It was how I was so depressed, and I had no intention of getting another cat. There's something about her, she just looked like a wee dishevelled wreck. Like her fur was all like kind of tatty and everything. And I'm still grieving Habiba. So I lost Habiba on the 8th of November. Molly came into our lives on the 2nd of January, unintentionally, when I knew that her owner had passed away, who she'd had since she was a little baby kitten. So she's obviously grieving, I'm grieving, and I want to help. That's just what I was feeling at the time. And because no one was helping her, I thought, I'm stepping in here. I'm going to ask if I can take her because I want to help somehow. The second she came into our lives, I immediately felt like I was starting to heal. She was so loving and affectionate and kind and sweet. I immediately started to feel like I was healing. She did heal me. Like, I feel like more myself now. I'll always miss Habiba, and I still cry for Habiba. And if Habiba was still alive, I couldn't have taken in Molly, because Habiba didn't like other cats. That's why outside in the neighbourhood, if she came across another cat, they were like, she didn't really fight them. They always tried to fight her, actually, because she was very small and cute. I would never have taken Molly in if Habiba was still here, because Habiba's happiness would have come first. And it's the same with Molly. Molly won't like other cats. That's why she was getting separated from those other two. This help to Rehome Scotland was asking for the owners who take her on to have either no young children and no other pets, which is obviously what I've got. So I wouldn't have taken Molly if Habiba had still been alive. And then what would have happened to Molly? I dread to think what would have happened to her. She was in pain with arthritis at the time. She had chronic kidney disease that wasn't diagnosed at the time. It was just so sad. And now you should see how different she is if I show you before and after photos. She is thriving. She's managing. She wasn't sleeping for long either. She was constantly only sleeping for 5 minutes and then awake, sleeping for 5 minutes and awake, because she was in so much pain with her arthritis. Those Silencia injections have totally worked. She now sleeps for hours and hours at a time. She sleeps all through the night all by herself, when she used to be hovering all over me all night like lack of sleep. Like, those Silencia injections have worked, the kidney diet's worked. She's now no longer as sick as much or ill. She's only sick when she goes out and eats the grass. She is an outdoor cat, but thankfully, because she's deaf, I would be worried about letting her out near like the busy roads, but our garden is completely contained. This is why I wish Habiba just stayed in at least she was still outdoors, but if she just stayed in the garden, it would have been good, but she didn't. Habiba jumped the fence straight away. She wouldn't even stay in the garden for 5 minutes. But Molly never tries to leave the garden. The garden's contained and she only goes out for a wee while and then comes back in. And so I feel safe. She's an outdoor cat, but she's not near any roads and she's in a completely enclosed garden. So she's safe, especially considering the fact that she's deaf as well. But the transformation has been immense, and I dread to think what would have happened to her if I hadn't taken her in. She healed me, I healed her, and I'm still on these cat grief support groups, which I'd see a lot of people who've lost their pets, and I now say, well, this is what helped me. A lot of people are like, oh, I just don't want to replace my cat, or can't imagine. It's not about replacing anything. It's about opening up your heart to more love to other cats who need it while you're grieving the cat that you lost, and will still love. I will love Habiba forever. So special, so sacred to me, so she was. And Molly, I love her so much. She's so affectionate. She's like a total different personality, really calm and just like affectionate and sweet. Habiba was totally affectionate too, but she was so young and adventurous and feisty. She was upstairs, downstairs, out the window, back in the door, blah blah. She was all over. I never stopped with her. Like, it was just, she was so active, and she made me less lazy because I was up and about and opening things up for her, and you know, closing windows, opening doors, all this. She made me not lazy. Whereas Molly is just chilling now. She's just sleeping for longer. She comes and gets her wee cuddles. She's very loud, very vocal, because you probably can't hear how loud she is. And she's just so much better, and it's like so worth it. Yeah, I can't get pet insurance, but her salinity injections, like I said, just over £100, and her kidney diet anywhere between like £100 to £200, depending on how long the stuff lasts, a month. So she's a little bit expensive, but so worth it just to see her like happy and content. And if I try to get insurance, all this like excess and everything, it's just no point. I feel so good that I can make another cat's life comfortable. Her last years are now going to be comfortable with me because she's got a safe environment now, and she can be in less pain, and she's on a proper diet, and she's getting looked after properly, and I'm just so happy for her. I'm so happy I could help, and she helped me just by existing, and her wee affection and her cuddle. It was so nice, you know, when you've lost your wee fur baby, and Habiba was like silky soft. It's so nice just to have a like wee fur baby to cuddle again. It is so healing. She really healed me. She's so affectionate. I've been so lucky with the cats I've had. If you've ever lost a pet, a cat or a dog or whatever, and you get offended at people saying just get another one, they don't mean just get another one. Because now my advice is, well, this is what worked for me. I got another cat. I had no intention of getting another cat or trying to replace anything. Nobody will ever replace. It's like trying to say that if you lose a child and then you have another one, that you've replaced the other child. How ridiculous is that? It's the same with animals. You're not replacing anything. Something else is coming into your life as well as. So for me, it was really healing, but I would never have known that and never have done that. It just all just happened naturally. I wasn't even looking. I just saw this wee cat in need and I took her in, and oh my God, did she heal me. The depression lifted immediately just by her being in my life. And I knew that she was grieving her owner that she'd lost, and I was grieving Habiba, and I think we helped each other. And so it all happened naturally. I wasn't looking to replace anything. So if you're offended by that, I'm sorry, please don't be offended. I'm just saying that if you are to open your heart up to another animal, nothing about replacing the one you lost, you find you've got so much more love to give, and you will find your heart heals, and it heals quicker. You know you're actually helping something else. It's just such a healing, soothing, satisfying feeling, like that you can help another animal. So if you have it in you, I would highly recommend getting another animal, especially ones who need the homes, like Help to Rehome Scotland or any other sites, like cat shelters and things like that. Not the cute wee kittens who are easy to like look after, but actually the ones in need. That's the ones that need the help.